Everybody, in this lecture we will be looking at solving some numerical problems on oscillator. Let us have this circuit. We need to find out the frequency of oscillation based on this circuit, and so frequency of oscillation we need to find, and then we need to find the feedback fraction, that means beta, and how much voltage gain does the circuit need to start oscillating. So voltage gain to start oscillation. So these three things we need to find based on this circuit. So these are the questions. So now from the circuit itself you can see looking at the feedback network, it is basically a Colpitts oscillator where the BJT amplifier is working in CE mode, and you know all the formulas which we have explained and derived for various oscillators. So first of all, we need to find the equivalent capacitance for this case, and that is C equivalent. That should be given by it is the series connection of C1 and C2 having these two values 0.001 and 0.01 microfarads. So this is C1 into C2 divided by C1 plus C2, where if we can consider this as C1 and this is as C2. So now put the values 0.001 into 0.01 both in microfarads, 0.001 plus 0.01. So if we find calculate this one, we should be getting 909 picofarad considering the respective units. All these will be expressed in microfarad, so finally this will be in picofarads. So 909 is the picofarad is the equivalent resistance, equivalent capacitance for this two series connected capacitors. Now the inductance is given as 15 micro Henry, and the frequency of oscillation FR we know from the formula, that is it is 1 by 2 pi root over LC, L C equivalent. So use the value of equivalent from here. So this is 2 pi root over 15 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 909 into 10 to the power minus 12. So this is this will give us 1.36 megahertz. So this is the frequency of oscillation we need to find, and the feedback fraction beta is given by, we know from the formula, it is these two values, the ratio of these two values. Now you can see from the circuit, it is the 0.001 microfarad, that is the C1 capacitor across which one terminal is connected to ground and other terminal is connected to the output of the amplifier. So across the C1 capacitor the output is tapped, the output voltage is tapped to be fed back into the input. So beta should be the ratio between C1 and C2. Now what is C1? C1 is 0.001 microfarad, and what is C2? It is 0.01 microfarad. So the feedback fraction will be how much? It is 0.01, and it is dimensionless. It should not be having any unit. So this is beta. For starting the oscillation with this circuit, it needs minimum voltage gain of, if we consider this as AV min, the minimum voltage gain to start oscillation, that is given by, just the opposite. If it is C1 by C2, this is C2 by C1, so that the product of these two is at least 1 or greater than 1. So to start the oscillation, it should be equal to 1 at least. So therefore the AV min or expression of AV should be the reciprocal of beta. So if it is C1 by C2, this is to be C2 by C1. So this is 0.01 microfarad divided by 0.001 microfarad. and this will come as 10. So this 10, this is also dimensionless because it is gain, it is also the ratio. So 10 is the minimum gain that is required for to start the oscillation with this particular circuit. So this is the way how we can solve this problem. Now let us see another problem. It is on Hartley oscillator. So this is problem number 2, and the problem says a Hartley oscillator will be working within the frequency range 50 kilohertz to 150 kilohertz, and this is a Hartley oscillator. The variable capacitance has the values in the range. The capacitance can be changed within the range to 50 picofarad to 450 picofarad. So this is the frequency range of operation, and this is the capacitor variation range. So these two are the ranges for this particular oscillator. Now the transistor that is to be used has beta or HFE, not beta because we are denoting beta here in terms of feedback ratio. So HFE should be 50 for the transistor that should be used over here, and the term del HE is given as 0.5. We have seen what is del HE. It is the product of two sets of H parameters, that is, this is HIE into HOE minus HFE into HRE. So this value, no need to find this as individually, so already del HE is given as 0.5. Now we need to determine the values of inductances. So since it is a Hartley oscillator, so we need to find L1 and L2. This is one question, and for that we need to neglect the mutual inductance between the coils, and the circuit is working in CE mode. So there will not be any coefficient of mutual inductance M. So when mutual inductance is not there between the coils and it is neglected, the frequency of oscillation we know that is given by F, or rather FO, we can denote it with FO, and that is given by, for an Hartley oscillator, 1 by 2 pi root over L1 plus L2, because they are in series. So the equivalent inductance is L1 plus L2 into C. Now the oscillator frequency has to be varied in the ratio of 1:3. We can see the frequency can be varied from 50 kilohertz to 150 kilohertz. This is 150, not here. So the variation, the range of variation is 1:3, because if 50 kilohertz is 1, then it can be varied up to 3 times of the 50 kilohertz. So the range of variation of frequency is is 1:3, and the variable capacitance, the variation of capacitance is in the ratio of 50 picofarad to 450 picofarad. That means it is 9 times. So capacitor variation should be 1:9 in this ratio, and the frequency of oscillation can be varied in the ratio of 1:3, because we can find we are given in the problem that frequency can be varied with respect to if the oscillator can work within this frequency, which can be varied 1:3. So that means frequency of oscillation, this FO, this can also vary in the ratio 1:3 using only a series connected pair of inductors with a shunt capacitor connected in parallel. So if we now put all the values, let us suppose FO is having the value for first initial value, that is 50 kilohertz. So 50 into 10 to the power 3, 1 by 2 pi, put 3.14 into root over L1 plus L2, because we need to find L1 plus L2, L1 and L2 individually. and C is given by, C should be varying. As you can see, now there is one interesting thing. When the frequency is minimum within this range 50 kilohertz to 150 kilohertz, as frequency is inversely proportional to the value of the capacitor or the capacitive reactance, as C will be increased, the reactance will be increased, and as frequency is increased, the reactance should be decreased for this capacitor. So if we consider within this range the minimum value of frequency, that means corresponding to that the maximum value of capacitor should be selected. So for 50 kilohertz selection, the capacitance variation should be standing at 450 picofarad. So corresponding to this 50 kilohertz, the corresponding capacitance value will be maximum of this range. That is, for minimum of frequency value, the capacitance value should be maximum of this range, which is 450 picofarad. So that means it is 450 into 10 to the power minus 12. So considering all these values, we can find from here one set of L1 plus L2, and that is to be found as 22.5 millihenry. Again, we know from Hartley's oscillator, from its analysis, we have seen that we are given this del HE value as 0.5. So there is a relation between HFE del HE along with L2 and L1, and we have found that L2 by L1 for a Hartley's oscillator, that is HFE by del HE. So that means it is 50 by 0.5. So from here we can find another relation. This is 100. So we can find another relation between L2 and L1. So L2 can be written as 100 L1. Now if we substitute, this is equation 2 and this is equation 1. If we substitute one value L2 equal to 100 L1 over here, we can find the L1 as, therefore put from equation 2 into equation 1, we can find L1 plus 100 L1, that is equal to 22.5 millihenry. Okay, so from here what should be L1? It is 0.225 millihenry, and if this is so, we can put these values, this value into this equation 2. That means if we multiply this equation, multiply this value 0.225 millihenry with 100, we should be getting L2. Therefore L2 is 22.5 millihenry. Okay, so if from here that L1 is approximately this is approximately, this is not exact, 0.225 millihenry, the corresponding value for L2 also will be approximated to 22.5 millihenry, because L1 will be multiplied by 100 and that will be approximately 22.5 millihenry. So the inductor L2 is to be connected from the collector. So that means if this inductor, since this inductor is giving us the higher value than L1, so L2 should be directly connected to the output of the amplifier BJT. That means L2 should be connected directly to the collector. So this is this was the second problem, how it could be solved. Now let us see another problem, problem number 3. It is on Wien bridge oscillator, which is to cover a frequency range of variation is given as 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. It is given, and this is Wien bridge oscillator. Wien bridge oscillator. So this value is given, and the variable capacitance has value from the capacitive variation for this case is within the range 30 picofarad to 300 picofarad. Now we need to calculate the resistances first required to cover the frequency range to allow the oscillator to work in this frequency range, and if the gain of the amplifier is 5, if it is given as 5, find the ratio of the resistances in the other arms of the bridge. In that case, find ratio of resistances. So this is the problem in other arms, that means which is free from the feedback network of the bridge. That means we need to find, if those two resistances are R1 and R2, we need to find the ratio of R1 and R2. Now the solution will come like this. The frequency of oscillation denoted by A4, suppose for one bridge oscillator, we know from the formula it is 1 by 2 pi RC. Now since the capacitance will be maximum at the lowest frequency, so once again like the previous problem, if we select the frequency as 20 Hz, the corresponding capacitance should be 300 picofarad. So putting the values over on this equation, it is 2 pi R into this is 300 into 10 to the power minus 12. So from this we can find the value of resistance. First the calculation, we need to calculate the resistance, and from here the resistance should come as 26.5 meg ohm. So this 10 to the power 12, take it above, put pi equal to 3.14, and you will get the resistance as 26.5 meg ohm. Now the change in the capacitance is in the ratio of 1:10. From here you can see the range of variation is from 30 picofarad to 300 picofarad. So this is 1:10. At this ratio the capacitance is changing. Hence with this resistance, with this resistance value 26.5 meg ohm, the frequency will the variation of frequency will be ranging from 220 Hz to 20 kilohertz, and that can be covered. For the next frequency range, for 200 Hz to 2 kilohertz, the resistance value is to be decreased by a factor of 10, because it is, once again you can see that it is now let us analyze these two results. We can see that the for the variation of capacitance in the ratio of 1:10, if we want to segregate this range or frequency range of variation, in 1:10 we should be getting 3 ranges. For the total range, 20 Hz will be up to 10 times of it, it is 200 Hz. This is the first range. Then it is from 200 Hz, the second range starts from 200 Hz to 2 kilohertz. So this is the second range, and the third range is starting from 2 kilohertz and it is finishing at 20 kilohertz. So this is the third range. Now you can see that all these ranges are in the ratio of 1:10. And why I have segregated in 1:10 range, the overall whole range, this whole range is the 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz, the given range in the problem. In the problem, the whole range is, this is the total. This is given, and we need to find the value of resistances to cover this whole range. Now to cover this whole range, we cannot justify with a single value of R equal to 26.5 mega ohm with for this so long range, because this value, this resistance value, will be the determining factor along with the value of the capacitance for the frequency of oscillation, that is the range of operation of the oscillator. Now since the capacitance variation is between 30 picofarad to 300 picofarad, that means it is done in the ratio of 1:10. That means if we segregate the whole frequency range of variation in 3 parts, considering 1:10 variation, this for the first part, for the second part, and for this is for the third part, this will cover the whole range of variation that is required for the oscillator operation from 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. So we can say, matching with the variation of capacitor, we can match the variation of the frequency as well, considering the different range of values of R and C. Now let us consider for we have found that R corresponding to the frequency, the minimum frequency 20 kilohertz, we have found the value of R, which is 26.5 mega ohm, and this was 20 kilohertz, the frequency. Considering the capacitance will be maximum at the lowest frequency, means the 20 hertz. So this F was put here as 20 hertz. This is only 20, and then for minimum frequency the capacitance should be maximum. Capacitance value is taken as 300 picofarad. Now if we vary the capacitance value at 1:10 ratio, then after the segregation in three parts of the whole frequency range of operation in 1:10 ratio, then if we consider the first range, that is the minimum frequency range, the capacitance in that case should have been maximum. So for this range the resistance will be near about to this maximum value 26.5 megohm. So with this value 26.5 megohm, we can allow the Wien-Bridge oscillator to oscillate in the frequency range giving the value 20 hertz to 200 hertz. So this range will be satisfied with this resistance value 26.5 mega ohm. Now if we want the second stage of operation, that is for 200 hertz to 2 kilohertz, then the capacitance should be varied accordingly in the ratio of 1:10, and for that, if capacitance is varied, along with that the resistance should also be varied. So to get to the higher range of frequency from the first set to the second set, that means we are increasing the frequency. So based on this formula, if the frequency is increased, the value of the resistance and the value of the capacitance should be decreased. So the value of the capacitance should be decreased in this range from between 300 picofarad and 30 picofarad. It should be decreased in that direction. So resistance will also be decreased in that direction, and that decrease should be in proportion to the decrease of the capacitor, which is 1:10 in this ratio. So in the same way, the resistance will also be decreased in the same ratio 1:10 from this value. So what will be the new value of resistance to satisfy the range of operation for the second set for this oscillator? That is 26.5 megohm divided by 10. That means it is 2.65 megohm. So that means this is the range which is satisfied by resistance value 26.5 mega ohm, and this is the range which is satisfied by the R value of 26.5 mega ohm divided by 10, that is 2.65 mega ohm. So similarly, to satisfy the third range, the R value will be similarly 10 times less than this. So 2.65 mega ohm divided by 10, and that should be 0.265 mega ohm. So this will satisfy the third range of operation. So these are the three resistance values that was required to be found in this through this problem, which will satisfy the whole range of operation by the Wien-Bridge oscillator, which is being discussed over here. Now the second part is find the ratio of the resistances in other arms of the bridge if the gain is 5. So gain of the amplifier is given as 5. That means we have the value, suppose that is AV, the gain denoted by 5 of the amplifier that is given, and we know from here that this gain from the Wien-Bridge oscillator, the response was R2 by using the voltage divider circuit or voltage division in the arms comprising the feedback network, from where the output is tapped and fed to the input of the amplifier. So the potential divider network comprised of R1 and R2, which is outside the feedback network. That means we have seen, if we once again consider the diagram of Wien-Bridge oscillator, we will be seeing that. So this was the Wien-Bridge network, and we need to find the ratio of these two resistances, R1 and R2, which is outside the feedback network, and considering this ratio, it is given in the problem that the gain of the amplifier is 5. Now what was the gain? We have found that this gain AV is equal to K. So therefore the gain 5 which is given over here should be providing us the value of K equal to 5, and we have seen that for K greater than any value of 3, using this relation R2 by R1 plus R2 equal to 1 by 3 minus 1 by K, when Vi the input voltage to the amplifier should be non-zero. In that case, when K is having some value greater than 3, considering this equation, so here we are having the K value as 5, so it is greater than 3, so that means Vi should to the amplifier should be non-zero, and so using this equation we should be putting K equal to 5 here. So in this problem we should be writing this as R2 by R1 plus R2. Using this equation, R2 by R1 plus R2 equal to 1 by 3 minus 1 by K, and putting 5 in place of K, we should be getting 1 by 3 minus 1 by K, and that is equal to 1 by 3 minus 1 by 5 equal to 2 by 15. Okay, because since AV is equal to K, and that is nothing but 5, and since also K is greater than 3 here, so Vi is non-zero. In this case, we have seen in case of in the discussion part of Wien-Bridge oscillator. So therefore we can see from here, if we consider this one, just writing like this, R1 by R2, inverting the whole equation, and this should be therefore R1 by R2 plus 1, that is equal to 15 by 2. So from here we can find the ratio of R1 by R2 is 13 by 2. So R1 is to R2 is nothing but 13 is to 2. So for this ratio, if it is to be satisfied, then we can say that the amplifier will be having the voltage gain as 5, AV equal to 5. So this was the problem with which we have found for working with Wien-Bridge oscillator. Now let us find the last problem in this lecture, and it is about the crystal oscillator. And in this problem it is about crystal oscillator, the fourth problem, and it is in this problem it is given as L. The inductor is given as 3 Henry and the capacitor is given as 0.05 picofarad, which is CS, series capacitance, and resistance R is given as this is series arm capacitance CS, and resistance R is given as 2 kilo ohm based on the equivalent circuit of the crystal, and the CM, the shunt capacitance, shunt connected capacitance with this L, C and R based on the equivalent circuit of the crystal, it is given as 10 picofarad. Now what are the question is, what are the series and parallel resonant frequencies of the crystal? So we need to find series and parallel resonant frequencies. So the solution will be given by the formula Fs. The series resonant frequency is 1 by 2 pi root over, what was the value? LC. So this was 1 by 2 pi root over, L is given the value 3 Henry, so this is 3 into what is C? C is given as 0.05 picofarad, so this is 0.05 into 10 to the power minus 12, this much, and if we calculate this, we should be getting the value as 411 kilohertz. Okay, so this is the series resonant frequency of the crystal. Now we need to find the parallel resonant frequency. So let's see how that can be found. Now there are two capacitances in the equivalent circuit of the crystal. One is CS and another is CM. So So if we find the equivalent of the two, which is denoted by Cp, that is the capacitance with respect to corresponding to the parallel resonant frequency, so that should be equal to Cs into Cm by Cs plus Cm. So this is what Cs, it is 0.05 into 10 to the power minus 12, this much picofarad. And how much is Cm? Cm was 10 picofarad, 10 into 10 to the power minus 12 divided by these two values. So this will be giving us the value 0.0498 picofarad. So this is the corresponding equivalent capacitance, and if we now want to find the Fp, that is the parallel resonant frequency, 1 by 2 pi using the formula root over Lc, and this C is nothing but Cp, so 1 by 2 pi root over 3 Henry, that is 3 into 0. How much? 0.498 into 10 to the power minus 12 farad. So this will be giving us 412 kilohertz. Now you can, if you want to compare these two frequencies, one for series resonant frequency Fs, it is found as Fs was 411 kilohertz, and in this case for Fs it is 411 kilohertz, and in this case it is 412 kilohertz, which is Fp. We can, if we compare these two frequencies, we can say that they are very close in value. So if this crystal is used in an oscillator, the frequency of oscillation will be somewhere between these two values of 411 and 412 kilohertz. So it should be something near about within this range of value. So that means through this problem, through solving this problem, it can be proved that there is not much difference between the series and the parallel resonant frequencies for a crystal oscillator, and the final frequency of resonance or the final frequency of oscillation for a crystal oscillator should be lying between these two series and parallel resonant values. So this much we have for solving the different problems on oscillators. Hope you have enjoyed it. In the next section of lectures, we will be discussing about operational amplifiers. Thank you.